LS Mark is a YouTuber who makes videos about cartoons and other shit that most people who don't live in their hug box of a Discord server care about.
Which will mean banning someone for 5 seconds and then two years of my life being Stop giving that bullshit excuse.
Today, Junior?
Okay, maybe I started off the video in a bad way, but LS Mark is someone I truly have a bone to pick with. Mark makes videos criticizing stuff like cartoons and other things, while his opinions are, let's say, not as retardedly funny as someone like dogs eating dog six.
Oh, and let's not forget the amount of racism, sexism, politics, and religion bashing in this show. Most of them are blunt as an atomic bomb, and others don't even make sense. I'm sure you're enjoying your Klansman uniform, Seth.
But to describe it in the most nicest possible way possible, LS Fart's videos are the embodiment of every simple corpo media analyzed Slop YouTube channel to ever exist. His video reeks of a retard rambling about cute tunes being mean-spirited and media literacy blah blah blah. No one gives a shit about modern SpongeBob and Squidward torture porn. You're 24, stop watching cartoons. I guess the main reason why I think his videos are bad is mainly because his opinions are mostly on the safe side of things, which most of the time he seems like he's pandering to the popular opinion that every Twitter toonhead has said about before. Yes, I know that sometimes he says something on the controversial side, but that's because most of the time when he calls something that most down-dribbling spastics would pretend to be good for like a 1 month bad shit, Tards realized that what the kiddie movie they claimed to be good was actually dog shit. Same goes from shit that they claimed to be the worst ever only to realize that maybe, just maybe, was harmless and wasn't the worst to happen to humanity. Like with somebody like Dogs Eating Dogs 6 with his autistics ramblings about Family Guy and children, Saber's Park and his boring as fuck videos with gooner bait shit in it. And Mr. Enter with, well, I don't feel like I need an introduction to him. At least they are really easy to mock them cause no one fucking takes them seriously, even in their own community. But with LS Mark, he is so idolized in their little hug box to the point that it makes want to rip off my ears so badly. I swear to God man, mediocre commentary channels turned into shitty Twitter toonheads are really the worst kind of species, aren't they? Anyways, you might be asking, wait, why the fuck are you even talking about LS Mark? Oh, who am I even kinding? You know damn what I'm gonna talk about. It's about his cartoon, it's about his fucking cartoon. So a while ago, LS Marcus released the pilot for his latest cute tune, Catching Up. As the page for this cartoon says, this abortion wasn't developed around 2020, and it's about a cat and mouse struggling to fit in. Just by looking at that description, my first thought was that this was basically just Tom and Jerry but without any of the slapstick comedy and with commentary on the social struggles of life written by people who either haven't experienced social anxiety properly, or by someone who got shoved into a locker that middle school. Basically just Tom and Jerry written by Twitter toonheads, and I'm not saying that just because it's a cat and a mouse. I mean just look at these fuckers. This is like if a Tumblr Kel Arts guy tried to draw Tom and Jerry in the Butch Hartman style. Shit basically. But what? Aren't you generalizing this show a bit? I mean, have you watched this show yet? Well, I've had the balls to watch all 20 minutes and 32 seconds of it, and it's fucking shit. So as previously stated, this cartoon is supposedly about cat and mouse struggling to fit into society, I suppose. So as expect, the show tackles the subject of social anxiety and shit. This isn't exactly a new concept in TV shows and movies and shit. A lot. And I mean, a lot of shows have done this concept before, like that. But as long as they are executed well, then why should you care? And I'm sure LS Mark, being a media reviewer himself, can truly write something like this very well, can he?
Well, this sucks.
So, we know the premise of this show, but what's the story about? Well, for all I give the shit about, the pilot episode is centered around these two fuckers that I forgot the names of. Real great first impression lol. The Jerry one is supposed to be the goofy one who tries to be nice but ends up nowhere most of time cause the dude is a annoying little shit. And we have the Tom one being the asshole who hates being around people and rather be alone all day. Either way, both struggle to have social interaction with other people, which is why both of them become pals, I guess. You know, as a premise, this sounds somewhat decent. I can see something like this doing well if they were made by the right hands. Too bad that it had to be a Twitter-toon head, but even biases aside, even it's kinda hard to ignore the fact that this written by a cartoon reviewer, because you know when see a cartoon reviewers complaining about cartoon not having morals and shit, and when they create something, it's specifically like how they want cartoons to be, and end up attracting their target audience from their reviews and nothing else. Well, guess what this cartoon falls into? First of all, the characters have such bland and one-dimensional personality, and this is especially a problem when the main purpose of the main characters is to be relatable to audiences. I mean, when you really look at it, they're basically just tropes you have seen before but without anything that makes it unique or stand out. Off-brand Jerry is nothing more than a goofball nice guy in the same vein as SpongeBob but without anything that made SpongeBob memorable. Even SpongeBob from the modern episodes, which these people seem to hate obviously, still feels more like SpongeBob than this guy. I mean, he is SpongeBob but you get the point. Off-brand Tom is an asshole who is extremely antisocial and can't make friends for shit. There's also some other characters but they really aren't that interesting and are more or less minor characters. Either way, these characters have as much as personality as a paper ball you would throw at someone at school. Exactly, there's none. I mean, the only character arc they go through is that they become buddies at the end, but it's extremely fucking predictable and anyone who is over 11 would actually see that a mile away. It's just that predictable. The voice acting for the show is passable. I mean, it's nothing special. It just seems like they got a bunch of randos from DeviantArt or Tumblr to do the job.
You know, I don't think I've ever even seen you outside of school or your own house.
That's intentional, yes.
But that's no way to live. You gotta get out there and do something eventually.
And then I say,
I gave that Melvin my pin last week and never got it back, and now this?
You gave it to him.
Oh yeah, what was that?
You're a pushover, dude. You're always offering to do stuff for people thinking it makes you friends.
Well, where's the harm in that? It's called being a good person.
Let me look at voice actors for this. Okay, it seems like they got people who voiced in other web cartoons, or at least one name that I keep hearing about. Wait, Uncle Al, Senior Palo, Catacurus, Zach fucking Hadel.
Hey, bet you $20 he's gonna put us there, huh? $20, deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, what you just said right there, that's the reason why nobody wants to take the shift with you. That's why. That's it, that attitude. That general attitude.
Okay, I'll admit, El Shar did get a good amount of popular YouTubers to work on his little cartoon, but ain't no way that this is gonna make me forget all of the obvious flaws in this show, like the animation, which, despite looking decent at first, you can quickly notice some of the flaws with it, like how the art style is literally just a shittier version of Butch Hartman cartoons like the Fairly Odd Parents and, yeah, just Butch Hartman's art style in general, and it just looks dull and boring. It just feels like one of those cheap YouTube kids cartoons, not the Elsa Gate ones with pregnant feet Spider-Man and Elsa made by Indian street shitters, but the ones where it's just the ones where there are no sexual content but it still have extremely clickbaity thumbnail and it looks like a tiny little better than the broken Flash Spider-Man Elsa Minion cartoons. It really just looks cheap, especially when there's little things that just looks really odd, like how some of the characters have inconsistent lines, which is just really jarring to watch cues. Even if this is intentionally made to be like this, it's still not a good excuse because it just makes it look like the animators couldn't bother to fix it and just left it there because they're lazy as fuck. There's also the times where they make the background character a single color. You know, just like in real cartoons, when they're in the background where the characters are in the front and the background characters are in the back. but when they do it, it just makes it looks distracting. Like, take a look at this scene.
I have to.
Okay, why did they do this on this scene? It just makes them look like fucking statues. Shit like Max Design Pro is more consistent than this failed abortion. Even the wacky world of Tech Savory is more consistent than this. You can really tell that they tried their best, but it just doesn't work. Like, there's a scene where they tried to pull a SpongeBob close-up, but the payoff just falls flat on his face because the way they pulled out just doesn't work. The comedy is like trying to make a blind cripple on a wheelchair play basketball. Exactly. It's a giant shitfest of misses. While not the craniest, the humor still has that cartoon reviewer Twitter Tumblr Redditier humor. I give them credit for not making me want to roll my eyes. But that's really saying nothing, doesn't it? But that makes me think. What is the target audience for this show? Well, it's certainly not for the kiddies, because they do acknowledge alcohol and they do sometimes swear.
Don't be jealous just 'cause I got 2 bitches.
But it's really hard to see any fun-sightable adult or teen watching this, because, you know, when you're watching something like The Simpsons or Family Guy, and you can definitely tell that these are shows for older audiences, not just the fact that it has violence and sex or what have you, but the way that is written is differently than a cartoon made for kids. You can tell by the way the themes and situations are handled. With this cartoon, it just feels like a 2010s D-tier Nickelodeon cartoon with the occasional swear in it, which really shows the target audience for this show. Adults who can't take care of themselves. Damn, who have no. This show is just a shit-tier early 2010s cartoon with shit-tier social anxiety representation. You know, this whole social anxiety talking started reminding of a certain show that I would rather watch than this Twitter tranny Slop, and honestly, this just an excuse to talk about. Watamote, or no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. Okay, I'll just call it Watamote, is an anime adaptation of the manga of the same name, that is still running to this very day. The anime was released in 2013, that was a decade ago. God, I miss 2013. Both the manga and anime follow a loner high school girl named Tomoko who tries to become a popular girl to improve her social skill. In the manga, from what I've heard, she ends up getting friends, but in anime is kind of a different story, considering that this show ended in 13 episodes, and OVA. Each episode sees the titular depressed bitch get into some situation where it involves her trying to get popular, with some humor to make for it, which is more on the edgy side, mocking subject like sexual assault and even dropping words like retard somewhere, though you won't find Tomoko doing a Hitler salute while yelling kill all faggots. At least it's not safe edgy Redditier humor. Anyways, this show, unlike Mark's cartoon, has a brutally honest representation of people with social anxiety. Tomoko itself is depressed loner who is obsessed with play video games or suffering the web. She's often very shy and struggles to make contact with people or making friends. A lot of the comedy from shows comes for trying to improve her social skills but failing half of the time. Some people call this show a cringe comedy, not because it's bad but because it's so relatable that they kinda end up cringing themselves, because some of the situations she goes through also happen to the person watching it. Personally, it's more just funny because, well, in some scenarios I can relate to her. They literally created a she's literally just me character, and besides that, Tomoko is just a funny asshole in general. Notice something? Doesn't this sound like the Tom faggot? Yeah, it just seems like a more safe and boring version of Tomoko. I mean, they're both assholes who are very antisocial. Only differently is that Tomoko is a better developed character, because they go all in out with her social anxiety and even joking about in a mean-spirited way. Don't take this as me complaining about it, because I think playing this type of subject in a very humorous, mean way could end up becoming funny. I also noticed that the Terry the Rat is also kind of similar to another character in Watamote, Yu-chan. She's Tomoko's childhood friend and basically the polar opposite of Tomoko. Both are very happy-go-lucky type of character, Did LS Shard just rip off Watamote to make his Slop? Probably not, but it just shows you why Watamote does it better than the Catching Up cartoon. Both shows have characters with social problems, but Watamote handles it in such a humoristic and wacky way, while Catching Up does absolutely nothing with it. It just feels like LS Mark doesn't know how to write characters with social anxiety and probably just did it to make a quote-unquote relatable character that Twitter tune heads with Palestinian flag on their username posting art of their favorite characters holding the trans or Palestine flag as a way to virtue signal, while then getting exposed for saying slurs or being the very thing they hate, bigoted, privately on DMs, or grooming minors.
I is just a Venezuelan ESL FNF nigga minor attracted person. Why is you crackers so obsessed about me? I'll go anyway. Time to play Friday Night Funkin' with my 11-year-old Discord kittens.
Will hype it up like it's the best thing to come out of the animation industry, but end up forgetting it in the next week, and it still baffles me that this is going to have more than just a second episode. I guess really the animation industry is going downhill, not because of evil corporate maniacal CEOs or something like that, but because of slop targeted at people in their mid-20s with no lives at all. It's no wonder why kids are watching shit like Scooby-Doo Toilet or Max Design Pro than this shit. So in conclusion, Catching Up is a absolute shit-filled coal brimstone from the darkest deepest pits of Reddit, and Watamote is objectively better than this. Even if you don't like the anime, you at least can agree that it's better than anything that LS Fart makes. And I know there will be people that will get angry at me for criticizing this because it's an indie cartoon, so don't be mean to it. But counter-argument, I'm a channel with less than 100 subscribers at the moment, so suck it up bitch. So in conclusion, Catching Up gets a 2 out of 10 and Watamote gets a 10 out of 10. I know, might sound a little biased, but I love the anime that much, okay? Anyways, thanks for watching this mess of a video. You know what to do: dislike, unsubscribe, and send me every type of death threat in the book. Bye.